Welcome back, dear viewers. We've been joined here in the series of Hala Kuwait with our special guest, Hamza Taqi, Master Performance Consultant. Of course, Hamza, it's always a pleasure to have you here in the series of Hala Kuwait.
The pleasure is mine, as usual. The pleasure is always mine. Thank you.
Of course, you're most welcome, Hamza. Of course, every time you give us updates on new topics, and today we'd like to know more about overthinking. I think this is a main issue for a lot of people.
Yeah, actually millions of people are overthinking. And the research claims that we think like 70,000 thoughts per day. So imagine how many, calculate how many thoughts we have per second.
So this is for the average person.
Yes. And when we overthink, the expression of overthinking is when we are overthinking in a negative way. Meaning, we are worrying about tomorrow, we're regretting the past. So, or we are overthinking about what we're going to wear, some simple stuff that you cannot decide on what to do. That's overthinking.
So even if it's in a positive way, there's no such thing as overthinking in a positive way, usually because it's a situation, an event that's happening in your life. You're trying to find a solution.
True. When you have an issue, when you have a situation, when you have a problem, you want to think. And that thinking is called productive thinking. So you're really, diluting or dismantling the problem and analyzing the cause, reason for that problem to find a proper solution. But when you are like just thinking and not realizing your thoughts, what you're thinking of, that's waste of energy and time.
Of course, I think this is a huge issue for a lot of people. So I'm wondering, is it something that develops over age, or do even kids, teenagers have this kind of issue?
I have no idea. Basically, somebody some time ago said, I think, then I'm alive. And everybody starts thinking.
So, yes,
so everybody is like in their mind, and it becomes like a habit. If you are not aware, you don't control your thoughts, or you don't observe your thoughts, then you will go into just overthinking, and you find yourself, your mood changed, and you start creating narrative in your mind, and that narrative will be as if it's a fact, and you live that life. Your body will
react to
this situation, and all of a sudden you'll be sad or mad or upset or something for no reason. Actually, it's a thought that came into your mind, and you bought into that thought, you entertain it. So thought comes all the time to us. What we need to be is aware, self-awareness, and what kind of thought do I have? Some people write their thoughts to that level to find out what's in their mind.
Is it better to do so?
Yes, that's one of the things that we should do to control our mind and to see what's in it. Because I said 70,000 thoughts a day. Now,
yes.
What are these thoughts are about? Mostly they say they are repeated thoughts from yesterday. So we take because of our thoughts, it comes from our past experiences, from the past. So we carry those thoughts with us. So we live as if we are living in the past.
But sometimes we're not aware that we're holding these thoughts from the past and bring them on to our daily basis, because that's one of the reasons you mentioned we need to write down our thoughts. It will help to clear our mind in a way.
Absolutely, because we don't know, subconsciously, we don't know what we're thinking of. And all of a sudden you will see yourself, why am I in a good mood today? And you don't know, or why am I in a bad mood today? What's wrong? It's basically a thought, and our thoughts are energy. They affect us. They're like words.
Of course. And what are some of the other ways we can control our overthinking? Because you mentioned one of them is writing down our thoughts. And I think sometimes, especially in our daily basis now, we have a lot of things throughout the day. So sometimes we have a lot of things to think about. So sometimes this kind of over thoughts that we have, this is not something we can manage or control because of a lot of situation that happens throughout the day. So you're always trying to find a solution for the problem or the situation that you're facing.
Yes. By just being present in that moment and not to think too much about next, that will help you be, aware of sometimes you can have like a moment with no thoughts, and it feels so good. Some people meditate, some people pray, praying for them takes the thoughts away. But most of the people that I ask, when they pray, what happens? They say all the things, all the thoughts comes to us when we are praying, and that's not supposed to be what the praying is for. The praying is just to get out from this world for a few minutes, and then go back to this world. So it's very. It became like a habit that we are not aware of. So we do it subconsciously, even when we are not supposed to think. For example, I might, while you are asking me questions, instead of listening to the question, I'm like building my answer. And maybe half of the questions you asked I didn't hear because I was building my answer, and that maybe I answer the wrong way. So it's better to take it one by one, and having a priority is very important. It's like having a to-do list. So you go more of the things that you need to do to accomplish your desired dreams or your desired goal. So writing down even the goals that you have on daily or weekly basis, it helps to get you to focus on what you're supposed to do, because overthinking can make you feel like tired or lazy. Why should I do it?
Physically drained also.
Yes,
of course.
yes.
I think this is very common nowadays. This is a situation, as you mentioned, even when people are trying to pray, they have all these thoughts when they should be focusing on the prayer itself.
Right.
So this is an issue of this generation, I would say. So is it because the brain is always thinking? Is that one of the reasons? Or is it something that we lost control of because of our thoughts? Sometimes we build, like from one thought we have an idea, and then we build like a whole scenario, a whole story based on
Narrative,
one idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, and that happens basically for the main reason that we don't observe our thoughts. And when we don't observe our thoughts, the thoughts takes us, see, our mind is a tool. We are supposed to use that tool. It has been given to us as a gift. Even thoughts are gifts. But sometimes we misuse it, or it misuses us. So instead of as a tool, we use it like the mobile now. Sometimes, the mobile is using us. Sometimes in the street, people are tweeting and stuff because they don't think that this is a tool and they can control it. It's controlling them, and it could be a danger. Same thing as thought. It can be dangerous. It can lead to sometimes even suicidal thoughts or something like this, because you feel like you are not wanted, or you're not liked, or you are not accomplishing, and you're a disaster for this world and you should be gone or something. So, and it's only a thought. As you said, we created in our mind from a thought, it becomes a narrative, and then we add to it a characters and story. And when it hits our emotion, that's when our mood changes, and our emotions are, according to Dr. Joe Dispenza, is the language for our body, but the thoughts is the language of our brain, our mind. So these two together, the thoughts and the emotions, will dictate how we behave in this life, how we show up at work, or how we show up in society or anywhere. So the energy that we bring in, it's all controlled by our thoughts. As we behave, we get certain results. So if we don't like the results that we're getting, we have to look at how we are thinking, because it states it's like an intention. When you have a thought in your mind, it's like your attention, and you want that, as if you're telling the brain, this is what you want. And sometimes people attract what they don't want rather than what they want, because they keep thinking about it.
Yes.
And it stops them from moving forward because they are worried what will happen and stuff, so they don't take a decision, and they become anxious, and why me, and so on.
Of course. And how can we control our thoughts in any way possible? Because as you mentioned, it's also based on the ideas that we have in our mind. So how can we control it and turn it into something good? How can we lower this kind of overthinking that we have?
My only observation throughout the years, I found out that if you focus on your breath and you have an awareness of your breath, so you're focusing on the air coming in and in the exhalation the air coming out, only that when you do that, and you cannot think of anything, and by focusing on your breath, which is a gift from Allah, because you're using abundance of oxygen, and when you're breathing, you cannot think of anything, and that gives you a blissful moment that your mind is clear without thought, and this is what we want actually, but not all the time. But from time to time, we need to train ourselves, train our mind. That and when we see a thought that comes, we don't need to buy into it. It's a thought, okay, bye-bye, I don't need you now. Thank you, my mind, for this thought, but I don't need it now, especially if it's a negative thought. And by doing that, a small trick, naming the thought that you have, naming it John or whatever, Hamza, it gives you some sort of a space between you and the thoughts. So you see the thought as far away, and that what will happen, you'll have a disassociation with it, and you can see, oh, why am I thinking of that? This is funny. I mean, why in the hell I'm thinking in that? Because the thoughts by itself are silly, and it takes over us, and it takes over our body, and we act accordingly to what we're thinking of. So if we are not careful, it can destroy us, or it can make us successful. So being aware, I think, and noticing your
thoughts, your
yes,
ideas,
yes,
of course.
yes,
I think
yes.
that's very important.
Yeah, sometimes I tell my friends, Tom and Jerry, you are Tom and Jerry are the thoughts. So when you see them, catch them and look at them and say, oh, is this benefiting me? No, drop it and move on.
Of course,
Yeah.
I think that's an amazing way to do so,
Yeah.
because I think nowadays with the stress and everything, it's very hard not to overthink.
Yes.
And I think some of the ways for myself when I have these ideas or when I'm overthinking something that is like no solution for it. So why am I overthinking this?
Yes.
I just hold a book. I try to distract myself, find
Absolutely.
something that will distract you, find a way for you, like a hobby.
That's
to
brilliant. Even doing some activities that you've never done before, that will make the mind more, creating more new neurons and stuff. So you'll be more alert to the thoughts that you have. Some people, they go to extreme sports for one reason only, just to stop thinking, and they get addicted for that, like a cliff climbers. Imagine a cliff climber he's climbing and he's in danger, and every moment he has to be really careful, so he cannot think of his child, for example, or his spouse, what's happening, or his house, or his job. No, he has to be there in the moment. And that makes it, even Formula One drivers, or any kind of a sport that requires your clear attention, otherwise it will be dangerous. So people get, but we don't need to go to that. We can do it by our breath, by focusing on our breath, and we can, train ourselves. It's 50 or 40 years or 20 years we've been doing the same routine, same thing, and now we want a quick fix. It's not going to happen. We need to train ourselves and focus on our breath, and thank God for that oxygen and abundance that we have in this planet Earth. So it's free. Why not take a deep breath?
Of course.
Yes.
We thank you so much, Hamza, for your time and for sharing all this amazing information with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm glad that you are enjoying.
Of course, we thank you, Hamza, and of course, dear viewers, we had with us Hamza Taqi, Master Performance Consultant. Let's move on to our next report. Stay tuned.